Appreciate you being with me again today. We're going to be thinking about Joseph in Egypt, and the hymn that we're going to consider today is the hymn, Work for the Night is Coming.
Work for the night is coming, work through the morning hours, work while the dew is sparkling, work mid springing flowers, work when the day grows brighter, work in the glowing sun. Work for the night is coming when man's work is done.
I want to think about work today, considering Joseph in Potiphar's house. Genesis 39, verse 1, Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his sight and served him. Then he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put under his authority. So it was, from the time that he made him overseer of his house and all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake, and the blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and in the field. Thus he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. And of course, the next account, we start getting into Potiphar's wife. We hopefully know what happened there. But let's think about Joseph working today. One thing is, you should consider that Joseph had very little choice. At least he had very little choice when it came to being a slave. He did not volunteer to go down in that pit when his brothers threw him down there. He did not volunteer to be drug out of that pit. He did not volunteer to be sold to the Ishmaelites. He did not volunteer to be taken down to Egypt and to come into Potiphar's house. He had very little choice about it. But at the same time, that did not make him bitter. I think a lot of folks, when you're in a situation where you don't have much choice, you got to work. You got to work. Maybe you have to work a job that you don't particularly enjoy. Maybe you have a harsh boss. Don't let it embitter you. Learn from Joseph, because Joseph is an example of someone who worked hard and who did the right thing regardless of circumstances, whether it's here or the dungeon or with Pharaoh. Here with Potiphar, he's working for him. And as he works, he's working hard. New Testament passage I was thinking about with this brief study, and it's the passage where it speaks about bondservants, that whatever we do, we should do it heartily, as unto the Lord, and not with eye service, and things along those lines. But we should, whatever our hand finds to do, we should do it with all our might. And Joseph, the Lord is with him, I understand that, but Joseph was also with the Lord. He's on the Lord's side, and he's going to do the best he can. He's going to do the best he can for Potiphar. And whatever else, he's putting it in the Lord's hands. And so he's successful. And you can tell from the account, that says that he was successful there in verse 2. And as he's doing this, he's trustworthy. And so just think about work and think about not being bitter, working hard, and being trustworthy. And that third one, being trustworthy, to the point where Potiphar, what's the verse say? He did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. Namely, Potiphar, his master, did not have to constantly be looking over his shoulder. No, Joseph, he was able, he worked well without direct supervision. And he's all alone here in Egypt, except for the fact the Lord is with him. It would have been very easy for him to cast off the Lord and say, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. No, he's not bitter about the things that have happened. He's working hard, and he's proving himself trustworthy. Sadly, Potiphar does not trust him, of course, when his wife says what she says. That may be an example of course, sometimes husbands just don't want to make waves with their wives. That may be something along those lines, because I would suggest Joseph proved himself trustworthy. But regardless, we know what's going to happen, and Joseph is going to be sent to the dungeon as Potiphar's wife lies about him. But Joseph, he's doing a good job. He's working hard, he's trustworthy, and he's not bitter about the things that are happening to him. Good lesson for us. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise as we think about working until finally man's work is over. Thank you.